This is Josh Olson, everybody. So yeah, man, tell us a little bit about yourself. Your name, what do you do for work, where you live, and just yeah, kind of why you seek help.
Yeah, so like Ryan said, name's Josh Olson, live in Missoula. I'm a locomotive engineer for Montana Rail Link. Quite a hectic schedule. I'm gone out of town quite a bit. On-call schedule, majority of the month, I guess. Select days off, but most of the time I'm on call, so it's busy. But I came to Ryan. Just Ryan and myself grew up together. I guess families have known each other for quite a while. Grew up with his older brother, and saw he was getting into this a lot more, and saw his progress. I mean, he's had quite a transformation himself. So I was like, maybe it's time for me to get myself back in shape. I played college football for a couple of years, and so I mean, I had a good base on how to keep myself in shape, but I definitely was letting myself go, and figured it was time to get back into it.
Right on, man. Yeah, appreciate it. So I mean, coming into this, like you said, you played football. Obviously, you'd been in the gym, like your way around the gym. What do you think the biggest? What do you think the biggest? Thing like that kind of got in your way, like where you got away from working out, and it just obviously it's harder to get to the gym. You get busier. You get you're working crazy hours. Like you're on call practically your entire like all the time for your job, right? Like it's never you never
Yeah.
have a 9 to 5 schedule, and so what is that like trying to work out, I guess, when you don't have like a plan or a structure? What do you say? Like, I mean, do you think that's something that derailed you in the past big time?
Yeah, I mean, going back to the days of football in college, I guess at that point that kind of was your job. But now once you kind of start growing and into the real life, um, when you get a career and trying to keep up with that same workout schedule, like I was saying, it was my job back then. It was school and football. So um, they kept, football kept me accountable to working out. And I think that also kind of was what derailed me a little bit, as well as um, it kind of put a bad taste in my mouth, I guess, after. I mean, you just kind of get burnt out. And I think it burned me out a little bit. And I just was like, I'm taking a break from all this
Yeah.
now. Because I mean, when you're forced to do it, it's not as fun as when you want to do it type thing, So being forced to do it kind of pushed me away from it. And then now I'm finding my way back, I guess.
Gotcha. Right on, man. Thanks. So, I mean, what would you say to someone that's like, I mean, obviously I know when we talked about it, everyone's a little skeptical about training online. This wasn't an in-person deal. What would you say to someone that is maybe a little like on the fence about joining something like this, thinks that maybe, they need to have an in-person trainer. There might not be enough accountability. Like, what would you say to that?
I think having an in-person trainer it's different for everybody. I mean, like I was saying, I had a background and at least a little bit of a base on my way around the gym. So it was easier for me to do this type of schedule, and with my work schedule, it was a lot easier to go this route. It's probably not for everybody, but I think the way it works for my lifestyle is great, because it lets me do it on my own time, when I'm available, rather than trying to meet up at the gym at a certain time, which is just not a feasible thing for my job. So I highly recommend it, just because the accountability part keeps me going at it. Trying to go at it yourself, I mean, I absolutely could have went and got myself back in shape. I mean, the meals and stuff like that, I've learned a ton from you, which is great, because that's something I never would have really dug into very well. But having you build the workouts and all that for me has been great, because uh, getting down to the gym and just looking around and being like, what do I want to do today, is always, I feel like, a big problem for everybody. As you get down there, if you don't have a game plan set before you get down there, you're kind of just glancing around like, what am I going to do next? Like, what do I want to lift today? Or
Yeah.
cutting out things that you don't necessarily want to do. Like I'm not a huge fan of squats and deadlifts, but when you put it on my schedule, it's like, I better get these done, otherwise he's going to see that I'm not doing.
Yeah, crack the
Yeah.
whip. No, that's funny. Yeah. I mean, like, just like when you said, like, you go in there and it's like, okay, you're going to lift what you want to do. And it's really easy to not, then you translate that into like, do I even want to go to the gym today? Like I'll just, do shoulders and legs tomorrow and kind of mix them together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that lack of structure for sure. So, all right, man. I mean, let's talk about your results. Obviously you've came from, I mean, you started at like 277, 278, somewhere in there. And you're down. What did you weigh in this morning? You said before we got on this call.
233.6, I think is what it was. Yeah. When I initially started with Ryan, I told him I was 277 or 275 because I was too embarrassed to say I was 277. But yeah, we updated that, and now we're 277 down to 233.6, I think is what it was today. So
yeah, picture's been looking awesome, man. Just like it's crazy how like I mean, obviously, you know, you're a taller guy. You're what, 6'3", somewhere in there?
6'4". Yeah, 6'4".
Yeah. Yep. So bigger frame, wider frame, you know, obviously leaning out like shoulders and everything, like getting all cut up. So, I mean, this definitely wasn't, I guess, you know, could you speak on a little bit? I think a lot of people have this idea in their head of like, that's great and all, you can lose 40, 50 pounds, but like, you know, they think it's just straight up torture and that you can't really like live life. Obviously, you know, you went to Mexico throughout this, you know, and I'll overlay some graphs right here. You can see his body weight, you know, right up here, when it kind of spiked in Mexico, but, you know, he expected that. So what would you say to someone like that is, you know, like holding back? They're like, I'm going to wait till the end of summer, you know, to get in shape because, you know, if I try and do it now, I won't be able to drink. I can't have any fun.
Well, that's actually totally where I was last year before I started with you. Like I always told myself, I was like, well, I'm just going to start eating healthier because I was embarrassed with my own self on where I was getting to be. And I was like, I'm going to start eating healthier and then get in shape. Then I'll feel comfortable going into the gym. And, uh, and it just doesn't work out because it's a procrastination thing and it just never seems to get any better. So I just recommend pulling the trigger and get going with it. The accountability part that Ryan keeps you on is great. Keeps you going, and that's what I needed, you know, as someone to kind of push me. I wanted to do it deep down, but actually getting the guts and everything to go do it was the hardest part.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, right? Like when I mean, even for myself, you know, I tell people all the time, like, I'll get, like, I've bought programs from people. I've had people coach me in fitness before, and I had someone comment, they're like, don't you think that's kind of bad for your business? And I was like, absolutely not. Like you can, because I can track my macros. I could try and justify, you know, like the most trash processed food into my meal if I wanted to. And yeah, it's great. Now you can kind of manage your weight loss a little bit better, but you know, it's easy to lack discipline or slack off when you don't have someone like, you know, I can hold myself accountable when I feel good and I'm in a good mood and motivated, but having that, that external accountability, I think is like what's something that just like you really seem to thrive on. So, I mean, like throughout like this whole experience, like, would you say that you learned quite a bit of new things? I mean, again, like you were a college athlete, you trained, you know, with some great strength coaches and stuff like that. So, I mean, maybe just a little more info about that, like on stuff that you learned throughout this process.
Yeah, just the diet part was huge. You know, everybody thinks if I eat salads, you know, only salads or something like that, it's going to get you in shape or you're going to drop weight. I mean, you might drop some weight doing that, but it's definitely not going to be good for your body, and you're probably not going to put on the muscle that you want to do. I did that. I was always like, well, if I just eat healthier, you know, on the train, um, I'll drop weight and then I'll start hitting the gym. But and now I'm at the point where I'm keeping myself a lot more accountable because I see my results, and it's been really motivating. Just the pictures was miserable at first because I was kind of like, damn it, I do not want these pictures out there. And I hated seeing it. I just hated looking at myself after, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, what did you do? But you know, after seeing a collection of them all build up and where I'm at now and where I started is huge motivation for me, to keep going and reach new goals. And yeah, it's been sweet.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. So we've been doing this together for what, a little. We're coming up on week 24 this week. So we started in November. So we're about to do, just so you guys know, another 12-week phase here, and probably a little reverse diet and add a little lean mass. So maybe just speak on like your next milestone, where you want to go from here. You're down to like 230, and I'll put some pictures right up here so you guys can see, you know, how far he's came. You know, what's the next big goal for you?
So when we started, my first goal was, from 277 was to get to 240. And I thought, you know, once I had 240, I was like, that's exactly where I want to be. Well, we actually hit 240 quite a bit faster than I expected. And I was really happy with it. But once I got there, I was like, well, I can't stop. So I got to keep going with it. So then I was thinking, well, you know, maybe I'll go with 225 or 225. And so I was looking, I was like, man, I haven't weighed 225 since high school.
That's
So
awesome.
I know, and I, you know, and I was 2 inches shorter in high school or from when I graduated till now. So I'm like, I don't know if that's a feasible thing. But once I got to 240, I was like, oh man, I got plenty more to go. So that's where my new goal is now, is 225. I guess once we hit that, probably in the next month or so, I guess we'll have to make a new one. But I guess it's probably good to keep making new goals as you progress, and I guess we'll see. I think once I hit that 225 mark, then yeah, like Ryan was saying, probably try to build some more muscle up and maybe gain some more weight. I don't necessarily want to go any lower than 225. I think I don't want to look like a Gumby out there, but yeah, that's right now 225 is a goal, and we'll go from there, I guess.
Hell yeah, man. I'll appreciate it. Thanks again. And just lastly, anything about the program, like what is the best piece of advice that you would give, again, for, someone on the fence that's maybe not even skeptical about the program, but more so like they think, is this going to work for me? Can I do this? Like, I talk to a lot of people that have kids, or people that say, I'm never going to have time to do this with work. Like it's just too much. I just can't do it. What would you say to someone like that?
I'd say that working with you has been awesome. And I like when we started with me, I had to lay out with you like my work schedule, where I'm at. I mean, I have gym access out of town, which is great because I'm on the road quite a bit, but we've been able to work with my schedule, and that was the biggest thing. Like you don't, just because you have something in your life, whether that's kids or a tough work schedule, or you're out of town like I am a lot. I mean, you can work around that. It just, you got to find that motivation. And for me, working with you, we made it work. And I think that's just something that you need to buckle down as a person and just say, hey, quit telling yourself that you can't do it, because it's definitely feasible. I'm working 80 hours a week, and it's like, how am I going to get this in? Like last night I was on the phone with Ryan and got in at like 10:30 at night, and I was like, God, I still got to go to the gym, and it sucked. But at the same time, it's like, I felt so much better about doing it. And if I wouldn't have done it, I'd been feeling guilty the whole time, like, man, I wish I would have done that last night instead of just going to bed or, watching a movie. I mean, I would have probably just went into the room and watched a movie. And it's like, at the same time, I just wasted an hour where I could have been at the gym, getting my workout in. There's no reason not to do it. I mean, when people say they can't do it, I think more of it is just about the fact that, do you want to do it or do you not want to do it? Because if you really want to do it, you'll find the time to do it. You can always work around, you can always wake up an hour earlier to do it. You can always stay up an hour later and to get your workout in, type thing. So it's just about working around your schedule. And with you, it's been great, because that was the biggest obstacle I felt like was getting into this, was how am I going to do it and when am I going to do it? Because I don't have a consistent, 8 to 5 bankers hour schedule. So
yeah. Definitely, man. Well, dude, I think that's it. Really, really appreciate the responses. Again, that's Josh Olson, everybody. I'm putting some pictures back up here again, but yeah, man, it's been fun working with you. So I'm looking forward to hitting this 225 milestone and see where we go from here.
Yeah, sounds good, brother.
Sounds good.